Hey guys, my name is Tamara. Welcome back to my channel. Every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I do a review called Did You See That Shit? And today is Friday, so you know what that means. It's all about Once Upon a Time. This is all about season 7, episode 3, called the Garden of Forking Paths. Let's get into this recap, y'all. Okay, so this episode was very heavy on learning about Cinderella and her stepmother's history. Okay, so in the beginning of the episode, you see in the other room, Cinderella go to where her and Henry was supposed to meet. All of a sudden, these two guardsmen come and attack her. So she knocks one out, but another one comes out the woodwork. Lo and behold, Princess Tiana comes and saves my girl, Cinderella. So Cinderella's like, who are you? And she's like, oh, I'm Tiana. I came to the ball not to save the prince or anything. I was here to watch the prince because she knows that the prince and Lady Tremaine had something to do with Cinderella's killing. So she's telling Cinderella that she wants her to join the rebellion with everybody else. And Cinderella at first was hesitant because she's like, where was y'all when my dad was getting, you know, killed and whatnot? And of course Tiana is sorry, but it is what it is. So end up Cinderella going with Tiana, but first she left her slipper for Henry to find. Of course he found it and everything. So in Hyperion Heights, you have Ronnie, Henry, and Rogers sitting having a discussion on what their next move is. So Ronnie says, oh, there was this guy in here and he was talking about how him and Victoria has some type of deal together. And Rogers is like, okay, well, that's a start. I should go see what this man is all about. And of course, Henry wants in on it, but Rogers like, yeah, no. You stick with writing, I'll stick with patrolling. And on top of that, you know that last episode, Victoria wanted Henry gone. So of course Roger's like, she would get suspicious if she sees Henry somewhere in the vicinity. So of course Henry stays back at Ronnie's. So before Rogers goes on his stakeout, he goes to the police station and Weaver tries to get him to do something for him, but Roger says, I'm on a different case, so I'm going to. And so Weaver gets suspicious, so he follows Rogers. Rogers is staking out where this dude and Victoria is meeting. And of course Weaver is lurking in the background watching what's going on. So Rogers arrests this guy, but Weaver releases him and says that if Victoria ever calls this man, the man is just gonna call Weaver. So he has this man in his pocket. So Jacinda is very upset that Lucy's not with her. So her and Lucy has been writing letters to each other. And they've been leaving these letters in that lot where that garden is. So Jacinda goes to the lot and Victoria shows up and says that she's moving up production of the condos that she wants to put in that empty lot. And Jacinda is upset because that's Lucy's favorite place. She says so she's gonna fight her on that. So Jacinda goes to Ronnie's and Ronnie pulls out this big law book for Hyperion Heights. So she tells Jacinda she should petition to save that lot. Back in the other room, Jacinda is with Tiana, Henry, Regina, and Hook shows up and Regina says, oh, well, my locator spell wasn't really working at the time. My bad. Tiana looks at her like, oh, so you know how to wield magic. And Regina, of course, she knows how to do some damn magic. Henry introduces Cinderella to his mother, which is kind of awkward because like, that's your future wife and she's just meeting your mom. That's a little quickety, but hey, whatever. Cinderella asks, wait, so if this is your mom, is he your dad? And Hook, like, yeah, no. Before Henry and Regina and Hook shows up, Tiana shows Cinderella this picture. Tiana asks her, do you know anything about this box? Cinderella makes this face like she knows what the fuck that box is or what's inside the box, but she doesn't want to say anything. So while everyone is asleep, Cinderella sneaks off to Lady Tremaine's house, and of course she's sitting there waiting for Cinderella to show up. So when Cinderella pull up on her, she's like, I want to lure you here. What's in the box is Anastasia. Now, if you know the story of Cinderella, you know she has 2 stepsisters. So I was kind of wondering, where the hell is Anastasia? So the story is, Anastasia died when she was 14, but Lady Tremaine has been preserving her body, holding her last breath. And how to revive Anastasia, she needs the heart of a true believer. Of course, you know who the true believer is. It's Henry. So, Lady Tremaine curses Cinderella's hand and tell her either take his heart or you sacrifice everybody at that camp. Of course, Cinderella doesn't want to do that because that's fucked up and she kind of loves the dude. She goes back to the camp, and at first she goes to Henry. She really just do not want to do it, but she doesn't want to sacrifice everybody else just for one person. She goes to a true believer of the cause, and at first she was going to take his heart, but Regina stops her. Regina and Cinderella has a discussion. Regina knows about ripping people's heart out and doing all this crazy shit for a greater good, and Regina's like, no, this isn't right. I learned the hard way of being evil. I don't want you to, you know, blacken your heart. And she uncurses her hand. But of course, Cinderella doesn't want to tell Regina like really what's going on. And Cinderella admits that the reason that Lady Tremaine really hates me is that my stepsister Anastasia died when she was 14. It's her fault for why she is dead. Cinderella, she thinks that she should leave because she doesn't want to affect everybody else. Regina goes to Cinderella, don't let just one incident happen and think that you're not good for a redemption. So like that, she says, you need to forgive yourself. So Regina goes back to where Tiana, Henry, Hook, all of them is Henry. The first person he asks about is Cinderella. Regina was gonna make up an excuse for Cinderella, but Cinderella pops up because they were planning on the next day going to attack Lady Tremaine's house. But Cinderella tells him, yeah, that's not a good idea. It's a trap, don't do it. Tiana's like, how do you know that it's a trap? Regina takes the fall so she wouldn't have to admit that she left camp and went to Lady Tremaine's house. She just says, I looked in my magic mirror and it's some traps there. And after Cinderella comes back from about to run away, she tells Henry that they need to talk. So I wonder what they're gonna talk about. So Lucy comes to Henry and tells him she heard that her step grandma is bulldozing the garden, and so she thinks that Victoria is digging for something because in season 1, Regina was demolishing this like playground, and Henry thought the reason why she was doing it was to find something, and lo and behold, it was Snow White's casket. Lucy thinks that Victoria is digging for something, so she jumps into this hole. Henry goes down there with her because he's like, little girl, don't be doing that. Like, don't just jump into holes. So they're walking around and Lucy's still trying to convince Henry. Henry's still skeptical. They go deeper into the cave. What Lucy finds is a little piece of her mom's slipper. She's like, see, this is something that my grandma may have wanted. Henry ain't having it. He's like, no, this is just a piece of glass. This is not her shoe. This is just a piece of glass. So back in Hyperion Heights, Jacinda has so many freaking signatures, but of course Victoria was like, yeah, no, if you burn these signatures, I will give not only you a condo, but Lucy can live with you. And of course Jacinda just wants her daughter back, so she burns the papers. Lucy shows up and is like, what are you doing, Mom? Like, why would you do that? And of course Jacinda's like, I want you at any cost. And Lucy looks so devastated. She wants her mom to be a fucking hero, and by her thinking of herself over the greater good and over everyone else, that's pretty selfish in Lucy's eyes. So Lucy says she doesn't want to live with her if that's what it takes for her to get Lucy back. And Lucy's like, you know what, I'm just gonna stop telling you. You're starting to believe on your own, so I really don't have to tell you as much. So Jacinda goes to Ronnie's. Jacinda feels bad that she burnt the signatures, knowing that it's for her and Lucy. She thought that she was doing the right thing, but of course Ronnie's like, you gotta make it up to your daughter, because regardless of if you think it's for the greater good for you, is always going to be someone out there that's going to try and fuck up everything. So make your decision. So Jacinda goes to, stands in front of everyone and asks them to sign the petitions again. And Lucy and Henry shows up, and of course Lucy is so proud of her mom because she's starting to be a hero again. And Lucy gives Henry the piece of shoe, and he's like, why would you give this to me? I thought you were giving this to your mom. Lucy says, well, I think that she's starting to believe that she's a hero, and plus Prince keeps the shoe. So as Henry is walking home, he stops and he sees a cemetery. Now you remember in the first episode, he couldn't find his family in the cemetery because the address that he thought the cemetery was in wasn't there. So as he's walking home, he walks past and he sees a cemetery. So he goes in, and lo and behold, he finds his family in the cemetery, which is weird because why didn't they give him the right address in the first place? Or did it just magically appear in the spot that he first looked? I don't know. That's a question held for next episode. And see Victoria get this box, and it's the box from the other realm. And she goes up to the top of her tower. She says to someone, come into the light. The person doesn't move, doesn't respond. So Victoria grabs the chain and just yanks this lady out. And so when they're having their conversation, Victoria says that because she can't take Lucy's heart, because of course Lucy is since she's the daughter of the true believer, and she's the only believer that needs her heart, and she said that she's gonna give it up willingly. So this mystery woman is basically like, okay, but even after you get your happy ending, you're still gonna have to deal with me. And I'm like, who the fuck is this lady? Like, she looks creepy as fuck. Oh no, I love this episode. It was really interesting to see what happened to Anastasia, like the dynamic between Lady Tremaine and Cinderella. I still want to know like what exactly happened between Anastasia and Cinderella. Like, was Lady Tremaine and Cinderella always so at each other's throat? I just wonder all these things, so I cannot wait until the rest of this season. Well, that's it. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel where I post 4 days a week. Also follow me on all my social media links, my Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram, where I post regularly on all those good stuff. And I also live tweet during Riverdale. I started doing it for Supernatural yesterday, so if you have not checked out my Twitter, you should so do that. Link will be down in the description bar below. And other than that, I guess I'm going to see you guys later. So bye.